Imagine a country shattered by war, torn apart by ethnic divisions, and struggling to rebuild. Now, imagine that same country finding unity. Not in politics, not in diplomacy, but on the football pitch. This is the story of Bosnia and Herzegovina's national football team. A team born from the ashes of conflict, forged in struggle, and lifted by the hopes of a nation still healing. But how did football become a symbol of reconciliation in one of the most divided countries in Europe? And how did Bosnia, against all odds, qualify for their first ever World Cup in 2014? Welcome to football, the beautiful game. And this is the Bosnian Revolution. To understand the significance of Bosnia and Herzegovina's national team, we need to go back to the early 1990s. The Yugoslav wars were tearing apart the Balkans, and Bosnia was at the heart of it all. A brutal war between Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs raged from 1992 to 1995, leaving over 100,000 dead and millions displaced. Yet, in the midst of destruction, football refused to die. Even as Sarajevo was under siege, makeshift football games were played in bombed-out streets. The sport became an escape, a glimpse of normalcy in a time of horror. But Bosnia wasn't just playing for fun. They needed a national team. When Bosnia declared independence in 1992, their footballers, many of whom had played for the Yugoslav national team, were suddenly without a country. While Serbia and Croatia had already restructured their football federations, Bosnia had nothing. No stadium, no proper funding, and no recognition from FIFA or UEFA. But Bosnians were determined. By 1995, the war was over, and Bosnia applied to FIFA. The problem, the country itself was still divided, and this division seeped into football. Many Bosnian Serbs and Croats refused to play for the national team, instead aligning with Serbia or Croatia. This wasn't just about football, it was about identity. Bosnia played its first official match in 1995 against Albania. It wasn't pretty. No real stadium, barely any resources, and a team made up of war survivors. Some players had even fought on the battlefield before stepping onto the pitch. Yet, they persisted. Through the late 90s and early 2000s, Bosnia slowly built a team that could compete. They weren't powerhouses like Germany or Italy, but they had heart. Players like Elvija Bolić and Hasan Salihamidzic carried the team, keeping the dream alive. But qualification for a major tournament? That seemed impossible. Politics remained a huge obstacle. The Bosnian Football Federation was plagued by corruption, infighting, and ethnic favoritism. FIFA even threatened to ban Bosnia from international football in 2011 due to government interference. But then, something incredible happened. A movement for change. Bosnia needed a fresh start, and they got one. The new generation of players, led by Edin Džeko, Miralem Pjanić, and Asmir Begović, ignited hope. They weren't just talented, they represented a unified Bosnia. And then came the 2014 World Cup qualifiers. Bosnia had come close before, losing heartbreakingly in playoff matches. But this time, something felt different. Under coach Safet Susic, Bosnia played attacking, fearless football. They dominated their group, scoring goals for fun. And on October 15, 2013, history was made. With a 1-0 victory over Lithuania, Bosnia and Herzegovina qualified for their first ever World Cup. The celebrations were like nothing the country had seen before. Streets were flooded with people, Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs alike, singing, hugging, and waving the Bosnian flag. For a moment, the divisions didn't matter. Football had united Bosnia in a way that politics never could. In Brazil, Bosnia made history again. Their first ever World Cup goal was scored by Vedad Ibisevic against Argentina. And though they didn't progress past the group stage, they left with pride, proving that Bosnia belonged on the world stage. The streets of the nation filled with hope and joy, not the rumbles of war waged in yesteryear. Messi shared the stage with the Bosnia national team in a game and tournament that showed that the country was at the top table of elite football and had also moved on so much from its troubled past. Since then, Bosnia has continued to fight. They haven't yet qualified for another World Cup, but their presence in international football is undeniable. And perhaps more importantly, their national team remains a beacon of hope, a reminder that despite the scars of war, unity is possible. Bosnia's football story is about more than just the game. It's about resilience, unity, and the power of sport to heal wounds. A country once divided by war found a common language in football, and while the road ahead may still be difficult, one thing is certain. Whenever Bosnia steps onto the pitch, they carry the dreams of an entire nation with them.